Hello there, friends. This is Terry Heaton coming at you again. Today, I want to talk to you about the heresy of Christian nationalism. I ought to know about it because I was Pat Robertson's executive producer of the 700 Club in the 1980s, a critical period in the creation and development of what is known today as Christian nationalism. It really all began around 1980 with the election of Ronald Reagan. And there's many things I could tell you about that. But for now, I just want to tell you that Pat Robertson, played a key role in the creation, advancement, development of what's known as Christian nationalism today. I knew Pat very well, and I had to because I was his executive producer. I was the one who crafted his desires for the show, The 700 Club, and as a television assignment, it was probably the hardest thing I've ever done, and it was very rewarding. But I always knew when I was there that there was something wrong. There were a few friends who worked there that used to speak with me, and we would have these lofty discussions about how wrong it was what we were doing. So I'm not alone in my thinking based upon people who were there and present at the time. And a lot of them are still friends of mine today, even though we speak on different topics and subjects. But Christian nationalism is the great heresy of the 20th century. And I mean that. This is a heresy. And the church is powerless right now to do anything about it. So Christianity itself is threatened from within. And that's a big, big problem because at the ground floor of all of this is money. Money, money, money. We needed lots of money, and we got it. In 1984, we did $248 million in contributions. $248 million in 1984. That is a lot of money, and it certainly was at that time. So we were just freely spending to build what we called television journalism with a different spirit. And that was a come in. We did focus groups, and I remember well a guy in a focus group having just watched a 60-minute video of the 700 Club. He described it as progressively subjective. And I thought that was a brilliant observation because that's what the show was. We opened with the news from a Republican perspective and slowly evolved the show into, these fantastic prayers for miracles. And I got to tell you, the Christian audience for this kind of stuff is obsessed with magic. They want magic in their lives, just like the disciples did back in the days of Christ. They wanted to be able to perform these magic stunts that Jesus could do. Well, same with modern day people. And I've got to tell you, to be honest, I saw some things I could not explain. And I'm not going to be so stupid as to say that there was nothing to the things that we did. It's just that it was all based on self. And here's how I know. One day when I was his executive producer, I came to him and said, I need you to teach me about fundraising. And so we went to lunch, had a nice chit chat and then cleared away the table and with a pot of coffee, and we talked. And he taught me This is the reason people give to this ministry. 1, how does it help me? 2, how does it help my family? How does it help my neighborhood? How does it help my community? And it was an expanding circle of things that ended with how can I help somebody else? So the triangle, if you will, or the pyramid, if you will, began with how does it help me? So everything we did was based upon the illusion of how this could help you in your own private life. And that was a pretty easy sell at the time because people were wondering. You have to think back to the 80s, and coming out of the decade of the 70s. Holy cow. This was music to people's ears. And, there was just explosive growth of Christian evangelism in the 1980s. But it was through people like Oral Roberts, Jim and Tammy, Pat Robertson. Everybody was just exploding with growth. And then the bottom fell out. Jim Baker got caught. Oral Roberts asked for some extraordinary amount of money, or that God was going to take him home by Friday. This is all, I'm sorry to use this word, but it's very fitting. This is all bullshit. This is self-promotion and the appeal to tickling the ears of human beings who are self-centered at core. It was just nonsense. And I could go on and on and on about this, but I just want to leave you understanding that Christian nationalism is the great heresy of the 20th century. And when it collapses, it's going to take a lot of the culture with it, because a lot of our culture is based exactly upon that. So be careful when you're listening and watching, especially watching people of faith who, have a Bible in one hand and their handout for money in the other. So take care of yourselves and have a great day. Of course, all of this I could be wrong because, after all, I'm just the commentary.